Welcome back to another video on Gearsaw Studios, and today I'm going to show you how to build an ice wizard tower. So that way you have a giant looming tower over whatever ice biome we have. And if you've noticed the title, yes, I'm doing it again. I'm going to do the 12 Days of Gearsaw because of a random Christmas song lyric, so I officially have now started 3 months of work in 1 month, since this is being recorded on November 2nd. So, without further ado, onto the tutorial. So, here we have some palette, and we're going to be using a lot of deep slate blocks. So, polished deep slate bricks with their cracked version, deep slate tiles, blue ice for accents, might substitute it for white blue terracotta. So, either or. Spruce planks for whatever we need that for, and if we ever include furniture, some dark oak planks. Then find a decently large flat area. So, probably around 15 by 15. Then you need a lot of vertical space, so don't try building this underground. With your flat area, you want to start by making a large circle. So, I have a circle generator linked in every video's description from November 2nd onwards, and we want to actually make a 21 radius circle, or diameter, which is about 10 block radius, not including the center. So, I have it linked in the description, and create a circle with that dimensions. With this circle, it's now time to calculate the height. And we're not going to have clearly defined floors, but if you really want those, then I recommend making them 8 blocks tall, and accounting for each floor being 2 blocks thick. Then we have roughly 48 blocks tall, not to mention the accents at the top, so I'd say about 50 blocks tall. Multiply it by the amount of blocks we have at the bottom, and now you know how much time you need to spend in the mines. And at that point, you might be able to literally use diamonds as decoration, but aside from that, it's time to start building upwards. Once you have this cylinder, you have a pretty good base plate, and a lot of your motivation drained. And from here, what we want to do is replace some of it with cracked deep slate bricks, which means you have to go back up, and if you're low on deep slate, mine some of it, go back down, smelt it, and place it back. And actually that's not a bad strategy, but aside from that, you want to create these blobs of cracked deep slate bricks, and perhaps even thin lines running through it to give it more of a cracked look. And once you have that done, we'll have a finished cylinder that we can then decorate. With our cylinder now in place, we can see there's a lot of cracks in it, and that's good. Albeit it's not too noticeable, I definitely say just having a ton of cracks going through is better than just trying to do random blobs. Because I used to do that, but tried this, and it just looks way better. So, anyways, you want to start by adding these support columns on the corners and such. And whenever you have a floor where you want to divide it, even if you're gonna not have actual floors, you still need to divide it up equally. Then make another line going across. You don't need to detail anything yet, you just need these lines going. So I've divided up the tower, but only on the top section because there's an incredibly important decision you have to make. You can see that we're at a point where we don't have enough left to make another segment. And what we could do is put more up there, or we could chop it down. And that's completely up to you. I'm going to just opt for chopping it down, but of course, you can make your own decision about that. Then, we want some accents along here, every other block on the sides, and then every 2 blocks on flat faces. And if you do that, then it makes it easier to add your accents to them, which should be looking something along the lines of this. You might need to decrease the amount to make it look better, but Of course, that's the gist of it. And you do it along the sides, and yeah, it just looks good. When you are making your accents on the side, the general rule of thumb is the lower down it is, the more armored it looks. So you can see down here I have more double-plated things, more protrusions. Meanwhile, when I get higher, although this top part is not finished, it gets a bit flatter and less sharp looking. And you should just continue that up and make sure no two layers have the same design unless you have like 11 stories tall, which in that case, I think you should just have two towers. With the detailing on the tower done, you probably are out of deep slate, and we have a very good looking cylinder. It could be support for a really, really large bridge, but aside from that, it's time to move to the interior. What we want to do is first make a door, which can easily be done with some stairs, going up like this, meeting in the middle, and then going back down. So, I'm not going to finish it completely for now, but on the inside, make sure to maintain the middle, place down a deep slate tile slab, and then place another to make a full block, and circle around it, because I'm making a spiral staircase in the middle. And you should just continue that, and on the edges of it, you should place some polished deep slate, so that way it just has a bit more framing and detail. For the rest of this place, deep slate tiles, and on the very top, more deep slate tiles, but it does make it pretty dark, so you might want to hold off for now. We have a spiral staircase now, and there's a couple of things we want to do. We want to establish the base plate for the interior, and completely finish the non-top piece part of the tower. And in order to do that, we need to first create some platforms inside of the tower. And just like this, they should be kind of curved, or they can be flat, depends on what you want. And you can have them go like this, give them nice borders, and just keep going with them. Place them around, punch holes in the walls for windows, especially on the corners, because you can do that too if you do not have a support beam. So right here, you can definitely include something. Then you want to also decorate the windows on the outside, kind of like this, just accommodating for it by removing some pieces. Or you could create some walls here, move these, and give it a little top part, like this. So there's a lot of things you can do here, but make sure you decorate the windows and make your random platforms. So before I go on the interior, we can see I've made just a couple of exterior changes, mainly just on the corners, and you can look at them. But about the interior, we now have platforms, and you can see they're not all connected. And it's just a much more unique design rather than just having floors. I haven't done the top floor yet, but I'll do that soon. We can see I don't really have anything on these, and this is where you put all your utilities. And the bottom floor will be reserved for storage. And that really means just place down all your chests down here, and place down better things such as brewing and furnaces up here. And once you have that done in this floor, then we can start working on the roof. With our interior done, we can see, well, it's really nice in here. I used a lot of soul lanterns and some bookshelves. So, it's just a really cool place. Albeit it's not necessarily the most practical, it's still just an amazing thing. And I also included diamond armor sets because although I usually try to keep my builds kind of survival friendly, this one is quite an exception considering the amount of deep slate you'll need. You'll have more than enough diamonds or villagers to get the armor needed. Then we have all our utilities around, storage down there, and if we go onto the top, we have just a room filled with enchanting things. Up here, this unconventional enchanting setup actually does provide everything you need, and we really just have all the interior done. Now we need a floor up here, and then 2 ladders going up to it, preferably on this side, or if whatever has the least amount of stuff. I have finished the interior of this, and, well, nothing too remarkable to say, it's just a ceiling. However, one thing of note is that the undersides of these, sorry mobile users if you can't see, also need to be cracked, something I forgot. But, anyways, we have the platform on top and the ceiling on the bottom, and what we want to do now is make these tall spires if the blocks will render, and they should be quite thick, or they could be multiple blocks not connected together. They should arc inward at a steady angle. So not all at once, and not at a 90-degree angle, but gradually. So, kind of like this. Of course, this is just a rough design. And we go onward, and we got this. And of course, this is just incredibly crude design, but of course, we want to have something kind of resembling this, or at least something you think will look good. Although I'm not really good at this top part, it's still an end to the build, and it's pretty good looking, especially the base of it, albeit it does heavily lack towards the top, and I will admit that. You could rectify the situation by just adding more of the small spires I have on the corners, or making them go inward and adding just more spires. So, either way, it's still pretty decent, and an extra detail you could have is possibly a magic circle in the middle or something, like as if a spell was being performed here. Either way, it's still a pretty good build. By adding more spires and making the corner ones 1 block higher, I have fixed the situation, I feel, so I'd call this build done. However, one thing, in the middle I have a really simple magic circle thingamajig, and there's a snow golem stuck in ice. And it's not producing snow because I have string, although you can't really see it at all. Well, that's a good thing. It doesn't produce snow layers under it, and it's just a nice way to keep his snow golem in an enclosure. If you do need snow though, you could just break an ice, break the string, and then now you have a snow farm if you have a good shovel. So, it's decoration and a snow farm. And with that, it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe, because I'm going to have to be doing a lot of recording if I'm going to do daily uploads for 12 days. And before I go, if you are wondering how much deep slate you need only for the cylinder part, no accents or anything, no platforms, it would take you about 25 minutes with an unenchanted diamond pickaxe. So, random mathematical equation aside, have a nice day. Gearsaw out.